Look, today we're doing something a bit different. We are completely bypassing that generic just put your phone down advice you've heard 1,000 times before. I mean, did you know the average person now spends over 7 hours a day staring at screens? That's literally almost half of our waking lives. So instead of just repeating tired advice, we're going to dive straight into the hidden psychology of exactly why we struggle so deeply with phone addiction. And more importantly, we're uncovering the biological steps to actually rebuild your brain and get your focus back. So if you've ever felt like your attention span is just completely fractured, well, you're exactly where you need to be. Okay, imagine this. It's a deeply familiar, kind of painful feeling, right? You're staring completely paralyzed at a screen, trapped in this awful contradiction of desperately wanting to succeed, but feeling literally unable to look away from the feed. It's that heavy, sinking feeling of, man, everyone else seems so far ahead of me. Why am I doing this to myself? You tell yourself, okay, I'll just check for one more minute. And suddenly, boom, an hour is gone, and finally you just sigh and say, whatever, I'll start tomorrow. But let's be honest, we all know the truth about that. Tomorrow never really comes, does it? So here is the big question. Is it really just a lack of discipline, or is your brain simply caught in a perfectly engineered trap? Just by asking this, I want us to completely remove that heavy shame you might be carrying around about your so-called wasted potential. Your struggle isn't some moral failing. It's not a lack of character. Actually, it's the direct result of invisible neurological traps that you didn't even know were set up all around you. The tech industry knows exactly how your brain works, and they use it against you. So let's look at exactly how they pull this off. Section 1, the social media trap. We really need to unpack how the apps we use every single day are specifically designed by behavioral psychologists to hijack human behavior. They are literally built to trigger endless cycles of self-sabotage, keeping you scrolling when you absolutely know you should be sleeping or working. Look at how our energy gets divided. We end up with this massive chunk dedicated to wasted potential and barely a tiny sliver left for deep focus. Endless scrolling rapidly eats away at our capacity for meaningful work, mainly because of the intense cognitive cost of task switching. Every single time you swipe, your brain is forced to process a totally new context. A funny video, then a tragic news story, then your friend's vacation photos. Every swipe severely drains your cognitive battery, leaving you with barely enough mental juice to tackle the goals you actually care about.
Moving on to Section 2, your brain on dopamine.
To fix this fractured attention, we gotta understand the hidden biological cause behind it. And that leads us straight into the fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying neuroscience of addiction. See, your supposed lack of discipline is actually a hijacked reward system caught in dopamine loops. These are artificial cycles of instant gratification. You're basically running on an endless, exhausting mental hamster wheel just to feel a fleeting moment of normal. Tech companies use what's called a variable reward schedule. It's the exact same psychology they use in casino slot machines. You pull the lever, or, refresh your feed, and you have no idea if you're going to get a massive reward or nothing at all. That unpredictability, that's exactly what spikes your dopamine and keeps you utterly hooked, tricking your brain into thinking it's accomplishing something when you're really just running in place. And this intense, unpredictable stimulation leads directly to neural adaptation. Now, your brain is a highly efficient, incredibly adaptable organ. So when it gets constantly flooded with cheap dopamine from an app, it physically changes. It builds up a tolerance by down-regulating its dopamine receptors, meaning it literally turns down its own sensitivity so it doesn't get completely overwhelmed. So you aren't just easily distracted, your brain has structurally adapted to need that extreme, constant digital stimulation just to function at a normal baseline level. This is exactly why sitting down to read a quiet book suddenly feels painfully boring and almost physically uncomfortable. Your brain's baseline for what's stimulating has been artificially jacked way up. Think of your willpower throughout the day exactly like a battery on your phone. It starts out fully charged in the morning, dips down into the medium range by the afternoon, and is totally running on empty by the evening. This is a phenomenon called decision fatigue. Every single choice you make and every urge to check your phone that you actively resist uses up a little piece of that battery. This perfectly explains why you physically cannot just try harder at 8 o'clock at night. By the end of the day, your cognitive defenses are completely shot, making it incredibly easy to just fall right back into that toxic scrolling habit. You aren't weak, you're just empty.
All right, section 3, breaking toxic habit loops.
Okay, so now that we've removed the shame by understanding the biology, let's look at the psychological insights we need to finally snap these heavy chains. Understanding the trap is step 1, but overcoming the everyday lies we tell ourselves is step 2. Think about the classic, I'll just check for 5 minutes lie. We've all been there. You're working, you hit a tiny roadblock, and you decide to reward yourself with a quick peek at your timeline. Suddenly, you look at the clock and an entire hour has vanished into thin air, and you don't even remember what you watched. Then there's the fresh start fallacy, where we convince ourselves we'll magically become super disciplined starting next Monday. These cognitive biases are the internal dialogue keeping that toxic habit loop tightly locked shut. They're the mental tricks your addicted brain plays to convince you it's totally fine to indulge just one more time. Every day, you're facing a choice between two profoundly different paths. You can opt for instant gratification, which gives you a massive surge of cheap dopamine, followed almost instantly by a crash of deep regret. Or you can choose delayed gratification. Now, this requires real effort and friction up front, but it results in a deeply fulfilling long-term identity shift. Restoring your attention span requires actively, consciously moving away from the cheap thrills and embracing the meaningful effort. It is the ultimate trade-off, really, sacrificing what you want right now in this passing second for what you want most for your entire life. The contrast between these two states of mind is absolutely staggering. An addicted brain is constantly reactive. It feels fogged, anxious, and just perpetually overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stuff it has to process. Every single notification feels like a mini crisis. But a restored brain, that brain becomes proactive, clear, and disciplined. It feels neatly organized, calm, and powerfully in control of its own focus. Listen, this isn't just about spending a few less minutes on your phone. It's about fundamentally transforming how your mind operates, how it processes the world, and honestly, how much peace you feel on a daily basis. Let's look at section 4, steps to restore focus. All right, let's move from insight to action. Here is the practical step-by-step solution for overcoming procrastination and rebuilding your neurological focus from the ground up. Step 1, audit your triggers. You need to figure out exactly what emotions or situations make you instinctively grab that phone. Is it anxiety? Are you just bored, lonely? You have to catch the impulse before it becomes an action. Step 2, detach from cheap dopamine. This means learning to embrace boredom again. Seriously, try staring out a window for 2 whole minutes without your phone. Just let your brain rest. Step 3, rebuild identity-based habits. Don't just say, oh, I'm not going to scroll today. Reframe your entire identity. Tell yourself, I am a person who fiercely values my focus. These 3 steps are a definitive ladder you can climb to permanently escape the social media trap. Section 5, designing your new environment. As we've seen, you cannot just rely on motivation to keep these new habits going. Motivation is incredibly fleeting. And that brings us to the most counterintuitive truth about changing your behavior. Willpower always fails, but environment design scales. This is a massive psychological realization. If you truly want to stop phone addiction, you have to physically change your surroundings so you don't even need to tap into that willpower battery in the first place. Think about it. If the junk food isn't in the kitchen, you can't eat it. If your phone isn't within reach during deep work, you literally cannot doom scroll. To really lock the door on bad habits, you've got to alter your physical space. Keeping your phone resting face up on your desk with notifications constantly buzzing, that is a total recipe for disaster. It demands constant, exhausting willpower to ignore. Instead, practice good environment design. Leave your phone in a completely different room while you work. Create a physical barrier. Another incredibly powerful tactic, turn your phone screen entirely to grayscale. By removing those vibrant slot machine colors from your apps, you deprive your brain of the visual, shiny objects it's craving. Suddenly, the apps become super boring, which drastically reduces that subconscious pull to open them. You're basically protecting your peace by designing a space where focus is just the path of least resistance. Finally, section 6, the transformation journey. So let's talk about the future payoff. What does this personal growth actually look like over the coming weeks? Because knowing the roadmap makes a huge difference when things inevitably get tough.
Look, day one is going to be rough. It's pure emotional withdrawal. You're going to feel agitated, bored, and restless as your brain literally begs for its usual dopamine hit. But if you can just push through to week one, you'll start experiencing genuine neural clarity. That heavy mental fog begins to lift, your anxiety drops, and you'll find you can actually finish a complete thought without immediately reaching for a distraction. By month one, you hit true identity transformation. The friction is mostly gone. You no longer feel like someone who is trying to quit their phone. You're just someone who doesn't care about mindless scrolling anymore. You have actually physically changed your brain. And we'll close with this profound self-reflection question. Which habit has been holding you back the most, and what one single change are you committing to today? Think deeply about this for a second and drop your honest answer in the comments below. I genuinely love to read them and cheer you on. Also, if this explainer changed how you think or gave you a totally new perspective on your own mind, please leave a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow and motivates us to keep creating these deep dives. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue this fascinating journey of psychology and personal growth together. Remember, your focus is your future. You've totally got this. See you in the next one.